Hi everyone, Catherine here from Inky Finger Cat, back with another 30-day Christmas card making challenge card. Today's theme is Snowglobe Dreams, and for some reason I decided to play with shrink plastic. I don't know why. I'm not the biggest. It's a little bit hit and miss for me, shrink plastic, and it doesn't go perfectly, but you know what? It goes well enough that I persevere. So I am using the Snowglobe stamp from Creative Stamping Magazine. I will say, go check out Sarah's Stamping Retreat. She did a few of the cards that are actually in the magazine, but she's done a video and they're fab. They're so fab. She's so different in style to me, but I just love what she's done with them. Anyway, I watched those the night before I filmed this. Yeah, she doesn't use shrink plastic, so I don't know why I decided to use shrink plastic, but she did use that snow globe and did some really cool shaped cards. So I'm just saying. Right, digressing, back to what I'm doing. So I have stamped the little cottage, a tree inside that snow globe onto my shrink plastic, and I am cutting it out. That bit is obvious. What I should then have done is paused, done some colouring, and then heated it up, but I didn't. I just decided to go and heat it. Yeah. Shrink plastic usually works better if you go and stick it in the oven, but you can do it with a heat tool, but it's not always as successful. Which is probably why I hate shrink plastic so much, because it's inconsistent, because I do it wrong, not because there's anything wrong with shrink plastic. And it shrinks it, and you can see there it's tiny compared to how it started, but that I thought was a nice size to be a sort of like embellishment on the top of my card. Because it's round, I'm now cutting some circles. I have no plan in mind at all when I'm starting this. I have literally grabbed the stamp set and that's all I've done. I've then grabbed this purpley coloured, lilac-y coloured, satiny foiled cardstock. Again, it was just a scrap that was on the side of the desk and I decided to use it. And so now I have got this theory of I've got 3 circles, one on top of each other. And I decided I really want to colour in the scene in some way. So I've chosen my alcohol markers with the theory that they will colour plastic. And it does to a certain extent, but then I choose too dark a colour for what I really wanted to do. So then I try rubbing it off with a bit of baby wipe. And then I think, right, well, now I need to turn it into night sky. So then I turned it grey. And I didn't like that either. So now I'm just going to rub all of it with my wet wipe, and it actually turns out quite well. It sort of gives it a sort of watercolour look in the background, and it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Clearly my heating of the shrink plastic has left a few dimples. It's not perfect circle, etc., but I have to constantly remind myself this is not a store-bought card. This is a handmade card that I've put time and effort into. It may not be perfect, and that's fine. So next up, I'm using the stencil from the same magazine kit. There is a stencil that is done by Indigo Blue. I think the Snow Globe is an Indigo Blue, but I think that the little scene that I created is using the other stamps in the Creative Stamping Magazine, so not necessarily branded. I've used some of the Seedless Preserve onto, again, a scrap of cardstock. I am not entirely sure what I'm doing at this point. I was quite tired. I wasn't feeling brilliantly well. I probably shouldn't have been crafting, but there you go. And then I remembered I'd got these fab little punched leafy spriggy things. Now, does anybody else remember this particular thing? Because it was used all over the place. I didn't actually own the punch. I bought this as a big bag of little punched elements that are like lilac and white, off eBay for like a few pounds or something, but like years ago, and this is how many I've got left, and I'm about to use a whole host of them. At first I was just going to do say 6 or 9 or something and just put them around. I then ended up going a bit OTT, but you know what, it looked really cute and I don't really mind. So I decided at this point to commit. I have added a little bit of ink blending to the back of the card front, so the background. I'm just going through with whatever's left on my brush just to sort of frame that element a little bit. And then I coat that circle with my ATG, and at this point I decide, oh, apparently I'm now just going all the way round alternating. And then I'm praying that there is enough, because there aren't seemingly very many lilacs left, and I'm like, oh no, maybe I won't. But some of the lilac is like a single-sided piece of paper that they've used. These are paper as well, can I just say, these are not cardstock that someone has punched them out of. It is definitely a paper, so they're quite thin and fiddly. And to be honest, I'd probably just need to use the rest of them up now. I've not got very many left. But I thought it created a really cute frame for my little element, and I thought, do you know what? That doesn't look too bad. So, you know, when you're just like not loving a project halfway through, and then you go, do you know what? I quite like this. But I did feel it needed something else, and what it needed was some splatter. It needed some snow adding. So I went and took my white gesso. I took a little post-it note and just covered up the actual snow globe, because I didn't really want to have to wipe it off the snow globe afterwards, and then went to town with the splatter. Probably should have put this in a box, because you can imagine there is now white gesso all up the walls everywhere. I do a reasonable job of cleaning the actual desk, but yeah, the splatter goes everywhere. I'm not very good at keeping it clean and tidy. But that is then my finished card. So yeah, it's not a perfect snow globe, but you know what? I really like how it turned out. I love the fact that the colouring sort of weirdly looks like it was intentional, that it was a bit patchy. Great. So really difficult to photograph because of all the reflection, but I hope you enjoyed this card. I hope it reminds you to dig out old supplies like shrink plastic, or, you know, die cuts or punchies that you've had for years. Please do subscribe to see more. Until next time, bye-bye.